Now that we have our new view controller set up, we need to figure out a way in which we can transition from our table view controller down to our new view controller. So the first thing that we should do is let's move the white arrow, which shows the entrance to our application, and we're going to move this back to our navigation controller. So I zoomed out so I could see both at the same time, and I'm going to zoom back in now. And the way we're going to transition from our table view controller is by adding a bar button item. So you can go ahead and down into your object library and search for bar button item, and we drag bar button items into the navigation bar. And remember that our navigation bar got set up when we embedded our table view controller inside of our navigation controller. So we can now add bar button items to our navigation bar. So right now it says item, which is kind of ugly. So we're going to make sure we have the bar button item selected in our scene outline. And what we're going to do is we're going to change the identifier to add. Now there's a bunch of other identifiers we could choose here. For example, we could choose camera, but this is not consistent functionality for our users. Especially when a user sees a camera, they would expect to be able to take a photo. And it's these type of little inconsistencies that can cause your application to get rejected by the Apple App Store. So let's go ahead and make sure that we use add here, which will add a nice little plus symbol, which makes sense. We're telling the user that they can add additional cells to our table view. So let's go ahead and we're going to make sure we have our bar button item selected, and we want to make sure we're hooking up our new view controller here. So we're going to hold down the control key and drag from our bar button item to our new view controller. And when we choose action seg, we're going to choose modal this time instead of push, so we can see how a modal transition works. So we're going to hook that up, and we can actually check the type of our segue by clicking on our segue here, and we can see the style is set up to modal as well. And we could add an identifier as well if we wanted to call this Modal Segue in code. But because we hooked it up from our bar button item, when we press the plus button, it's going to go to our new view controller. So let's see how that works. Let's go ahead and run our application. And when we press the plus button, we notice that we don't get the back button functionality because we didn't use a push segue. So we're going to have to write that functionality ourselves. But right now, we are able to transition to our new view controller. So great, we've managed to set up a modal segue properly.